Well, folks, how y'all doing today? Oh, not too bad. Little, little work done today on the old gardening. It's good stuff for you. Eventually it turned into food, so there is that. It's always a good thing in my mind. At any rate, speaking of seeds that can be planted, one of them is the idea of the notion, I think. We need a seed planted. The notion that an operating system could be created, how to say, open source code, that would provide dissidents to the current Western liberal system the means to communicate that would not be able to be shut down by YouTube, Google, Facebook, or Twitter. It would simply surpass and bypass them utterly. Now, you say that's insane. I say, no, not really. FreeBSD can be modified out of the box for free. You don't have to pay any money. You can't commercialize the product, I don't think, but you don't have to pay any money. You can modify this. It can be made basically self-installing like Windows. You push yes, 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 okay, right? But, okay, it can be about that easy to be made, It can have every feature that people expect in a modern operating system. In fact, if you make the appearance such and so, it'd be quite difficult to tell apart from the common Windows desktop environment people are very used to, right? It isn't the same, absolutely, but it's very similar, and it'd be easy for people to, relearn a couple of clicks and so forth. It's just a little muscle memory changing, But the essential of everything else is there. It is really simple, right? And again, it's actually pretty stable. It's not. I've used it long term. It's not that difficult to use. I don't consider myself to be some supercomputer geek or anything, Right? It's pretty reliable, pretty solid, And it was designed to be a universal operating system in the sense that it was meant to be ported to almost every hardware known to man. Well, if that's the case, then it would seem that it could be ported to tablets, it could be ported to phones, it could be ported to, you get what I mean? And we could have our own independent operating system that was at least could provide secure communications amongst ourselves, to where at least we could speak amongst ourselves and have some kind of way of projecting a message out to the general public thereby. Do you see? A way that wasn't filtered by these sorcerers, if you wish, at Google and so forth. These censors might be a better word even, at Google and Facebook and whatever, okay? That wasn't filtered by them, in theory, we could have our own search engines and all the rest, This is just a matter of computer databases, linked together in chains. I mean, it's not some massive, inoperable problem when taken in small steps, Now, a self-packaging is sort of a self-installer, operating system that could be easily distributed to people for free would be, that would be a great first step in ensuring that we had video platform, have some kind of decentralized video sharing system that goes on all these operating systems so everyone can put videos in a certain file and share them with the internet. Whoa, strange concept. Same with audio files, text files, and so forth. Then from there, allow the files to be, bit shooted out and so forth else. Yeah, there you go. Now that seems to be a much more efficient way of going about it than allowing YouTube and the rest to be arbitrators of your future, controllers of your destiny, And I do know, there has to be among the right wing several thousand people who are capable of this, right? It would seem that if they all came together and did the bits they could, that we could have a finished product in some reasonable time frame, right? It doesn't have to be called, National Socialist Unix or anything crazy like this. Just, Freedom Unix or something would be the most logical thing. Liberty Unix, whatever other camouflage name you require. The more deceptive the name, the better the effect. Yeah, correct. I don't have to tell you, This is how the liberals did it throughout their heyday. You should learn from people who conquered. Yes, that's capital L for Americans. Small L liberalism is a purely American phenomenon, just like small c conservatism is purely a part of big L liberalism. It doesn't exist on its own at all. American GOP and the American Democratic Party are both born of the same eggs. I don't know what to tell you. They're not different at all. They both originate from carpetbaggers after the Civil War. End of discussion. Do you see how simple this is? It's not even difficult. Yeah. Right. I mean, I'm not even going to play the game. I don't care if they're Democrats or the real racists. Good, I would have been a Democrat, yeah. I wish to God they were openly racist. That'd be just wonderful. Yeah, right. You see. So what's actually important here isn't stupid shit like this. It's the ability to actually say what you want to say. Because again, it gets tiring, don't you think? Being invited to have these fucking conversations with the left so they can censor you and shut you down when you actually do say what you wish to say. Huh? Doesn't it? Don't you think so? Isn't it just a bit tiresome, wearisome, burdensome even? The insane notion, Twitter, come have your say, but not you, or you, and maybe not you either, but he can speak. We'll just let the one guy have his say. It's Orwellian to the hilt, and frankly, why deal with it, Why deal with it? Now, of course, you would have jokesters that would get on here and do this, but this is a simple matter of basic security measures being put inside the system. And really what I do, ideally, is bring in black hat type hackers and just let them have the operating system for months before it was released to the general public. Let them just go insane on it. Pay them to find faults in it. That's correct, yeah. They'd be doing you a valuable service. Pay them. Yes, right. Because the more resilient the code, the stronger the code before it hits general population, the more effectively it will serve the purposes at hand here. Right. And thus, yeah. You want the mercenary scum of the world to try to bring you down on a limited scale before it's live. I don't know what to tell you, It's just going to be advantageous. Plus, two, it does demonstrate that you have faith in your product and that you're willing to entertain the idea that not only is your product really not perfect, but on the other hand, it does work. You see, trial by fire, or trial by hacking as it were, is the only way to really test code, is to see if it's solid or not, Run it through and see if people can find faults, bugs, lapses, and so forth, stack overflows, and all the other junk, inside the code. Okay. Now, fortunately, FreeBSD has had this happen to it for 30 years. So it's pretty stout, My sense is it could only be improved, by proper tuning in certain places. And again, it comes with every software package available needed essentially to restart the internet from your own little cluster of computers, okay? Now that's kind of flippant, but no, not really. You'd have all the servers needed, you'd have all the data storage needed, all the data transfer protocols needed, and so forth. It's just a matter of knowing how to set up the software and make it all work together. This is just a technical thing, right? So you see, that would seem to be a big advantage over wind blows and the rest. Not to mention being able to have the same operating system, more or less, on your server computers, your home operating systems, your laptops, your phones, your tablets, and so forth, would seem to be an immense advantage, Immense advantage. It would allow them all to have more secure communications amongst themselves. Many other real advantages too. Right. And they can't be any less optimized for any machine than Windows. Let's just be honest, So, they're not a bad option. And I can't think of a better option. I mean, can any of you really imagine the task of making an operating system from scratch? Well, there you go, right? So these would be the best that I can think that are off-the-shelf implements that can be modified to the end such that dissidents in the West can have their say regardless of the PC multicultural diversity censors, That we no longer have to have these phony conversations with these people where they control the conversation. No way. That's not a conversation. That's a monologue. Okay? And if we're going to have monologues, I prefer to have monologues at the left rather than from the left. Yeah, amazingly, I know, Because they're not interested in dialogues or conversations at all. It comes down to, if you reject any one of 20 or 30 prepositions that range all the way from Martin Luther King as a saint, and you have various black people in the rest of the world and so forth, or saints, right? All the way down to human equality is just an absolute fact, but my Darwinism, you have to accept that at the same time. Yeah, right? You're a Nazi, okay? That's just it. That's it. There's just no arguing with that in their world. So you may as well just embrace it. Okay, I'm a Nazi, whatever, Big deal. Get the hell out of here. Take a hike, Okay? And part of telling them to take a hike and being able to mean business is being able to control the terms of discussion, like they control the terms of discussion, right? They control the digital capital that we speak on. Well, in-run them. In-run them with cheap, easily replicated, decentralized software and hardware setups that replicate and duplicate and parallel their communicability. The internet you can always get on, so you don't have to route through these people. You don't have to collect data from Google, for instance. There are other search engines that can be collated and brought together and everything else. Okay, you don't have to bother with YouTube if you have your own video sharing platforms that are sort of pre-built into the operating system. So it's just designed, people can go on and share their stuff, right? Now, this doesn't seem to be some insurmountable problem, right? It just seems to be that there's, a lack of concerted will, But as they censor more people and as they squeeze ever more tighter, people will become more desperate. Think of it like a flailing animal being squeezed by a python. Sometimes they wiggle their way out, sometimes they don't. I prefer to wiggle my way out, And part of doing that is being able to talk. Basically being able to have, in essence, you can think of talking like the oxygen the body needs to keep the cells communicating with each other and keep them healthy. Okay? These people want to choke you off from oxygen, or provide you with very stale air that's sort of been pre-used, if you wish. That's their information world comes down to white people bad, everyone else good. Well, if you're white and you're tired of that, having your own communications and securities apparatus for the internet would be the way to go. You could say what you wanted and they wouldn't be able to shut you down. Wow. Yeah. Think of it like Tor, but on an operating system level, where you have a secure operating system that allows you to get on the internet, but also to connect with other people with that operating system much more securely than otherwise. And because of these secure connections, you can sort of band together power. You can decentrally become many. From one many. Well, right there you go, you see. E pluribus unum. It's just that turned on its head. The fact is that Latin works in mysterious ways, but you see, you don't need this nonsense concept of like we have to have some outside company that stores our video data. Well, no, you don't. If each of you set aside a small piece of a modern hard drive for this, that can add up to an awful lot of data fast with just a very few users, and with lots of users it can be a vast amount of data. You see, it's not insane, it's not imposition, and it'd be known. None of this would be hidden. This would be all up front. The trade-off would be that, if you want to be able to have these communications, you have to sort of be willing to pitch in and be a good chap, proper lad, stand-up guy. However you like to put it, right? There's just requirements, You're not going to be able to on the cheap or buy the easy, just have this. Liberalism means to take from you, and you have to be able to not allow them to take. And a good portion of that is being able to speak, being able to talk with each other, being able to think, being able to plan, being able to say what you want. Being able to say what you want. Being free of their dumbass thought paradigm that imprisons you in layers upon layers upon layers of stupidity that have nothing to do with nature, nothing to do with reality, nothing to do with truth. They're just pie in the sky. Diversity is it's your goddamn cultural AIDS. Right. That's what it is. And equality is the cancer. You know what I'm saying? Feminism's right there with them, just via neck and neck to be just like chief top dog of death cult, you know? And being free of the value judgments of these insane death cultists means not being dependent on the digital capital that they control. Okay? Being away, off of their platforms as much as possible, you know? And transitioning towards a decentralized system that they can't just chop the head off. Okay? I mean, that's just as simple as it is. And to my mind, Unix is just what there is that can do this off the shelf, you know? That with the proper amount of work on it, it could happen. It could become a disk, just like you get from Windows, from Redmond. You install it, you push yes, 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 okay, you know? And then things work. You know, the thing that says internet, you click it, the internet's available. The thing that says video, you click it, you can film videos. The thing that says movies, you click it, you can watch movies. You get what I mean? This is essentially what happens on a Windows machine when you think about it. It's not greatly different, right? And then this can be done across a wide range of hardware, down to very obsolete hardware that Windows won't run anymore. Okay? So, right, that allows even the very poorest people among us to participate in this. Which, you may think that's nonsense, but you know, the more people in your group mind, the more people's minds are in your group. Right? That's not a small power. You don't quite understand that, yeah, part of human nature is, you know, communication. Human beings are the only animals that speak. Okay? When they shut you down from speaking, having your say, they're denying essentially one of the really unique functions of what you are as a human being. So, unless you fancy being treated like a circus animal, which is exactly how these liberals and their politically correct Marxist allies view you, having means to communicate so that you can remain a proper man with dignity is the route to go. And once again, the Unixes, the FreeBSD, OpenBSD, NetBSD, kind of taken together, because again, as far as I understand, you can compile bits of the code together. Between them have everything needed. Everything needed. The one, NetBSD, has been ported to almost every architecture known to man, computer architectures. OpenBSD has a firewall on it that's flat out second to none, you know? And FreeBSD it's the easiest one to operate for your average person. It's the most quote-unquote user-friendly, and it's very solid, very reliable. As far as I know, Redmond uses it, that's Windows, Microsoft, uses that for their servers. Yes, right. So it's more reliable than Windows' own product. Yeah, or at least this was the case at one point. So you see, all of this combined means that this, if taken together with a little innovation put to it, we could have essentially a decentralized platform upon which to share videos, share audio, share text, you know, write blogs, so forth, that would be outside of the control of the modern corporatist world. You understand? It could be used to shatter their paradigm. Now, you know, I know. I always want the big things, you know. I never just want small stuff, but I never just want some roses for my birthday or anything. No. Fussy one I am. What do you want me to say? I have a certain belief that if Western, Euro, American, pro-white people were to huddle together in sort of Thundercat moment, you know, become like one big operative unit, they could do this. It could be done. Have a nice day. Thank you.